Okay, so the handlebar screws are at least a little bit confusing. P6 by 19 for handlebar and for annular buffer. So on the IPL, it actually has these 21.5s for all 4 of the handlebar screws. But I guess you can use the shorter ones for the underside. I don't think it'll really matter. So we'll put those aside for the moment. So 3 self-tappers for these. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Good. Before I put the flywheel on here, I'm reminded that these like a little bit of timing advance. If you want to rotate this way on the flywheel, the easiest way to do that is just to grind on the key itself. And they like about, 20 thousandths of advance. Probably the best way to do it, either in a vise or a set of vise grips. I don't want to grind the whole thing away. The half moon part I want to keep stock here, but there we go. So where are we at to start with here? So the flywheel key is at a little more than 75 thousandths. 77 thousandths. So I want to go down on this. I guess it doesn't matter, you can place it any way you want, but on one of the sides of the flywheel I want to go down about 20 thousandths. Just take your little grinder and go at it. Preferably not over the crankcase. 62. Not too far off. Now I'll hit it with a flat file. 57 on the money. So 77 down to 57. 20 thousandths. And that should allow the wheel to go slightly further that way for when we tighten it down. Now you don't want to put stress on that key. The whole idea is that it's supposed to shear in the advent of something terrible. So you place it up against there, preferably with a piston stop. Hold it advanced. Blue Loctite. You want to jam it this way while you put your nut down. So jam it as far advanced as you can. Don't want to break the flywheel. But now it's down a bit and the flywheel's advanced. Now you're going to bring it all the way back up against the piston stop, and now you can hit it. Good. I use about 13 foot-pounds. If anybody knows a better spec, they're welcome to correct me. So now we have an advanced flywheel. M4 by 16 for annular buffer. Pretty sure that's this thing. A little bit of blue Loctite. P6 by 32.5 for annular buffer. Gonna assume it's this one. Good. Ignition coil, M5 by 20 for ignition coil. Ignition coil bolts. Don't put it all the way down yet. Ground. Gonna put it here. There's a lot more room here than on the 360. The 360 was a pain. Just was. Business card. Bring the magnet around. Make sure it grabs. Use the business card as your spacer. Don't put it fully seated yet. Finish them by hand. One, two. put your kill wire on. And you can cinch it up in there if you want. 1, 2. That's nice and neat. That's better. See, that makes me feel a little bit better. I was not feeling so good about these kits. That makes me feel a little bit better. Okay. Uh-oh, I think I missed something. Oh no. I missed an AV mount. It's okay, go back and do it. It's one of the reasons why I don't actually put these caps on until the very end. But it'll be fine. Okay, so this rubber AV mount, I think, goes least importantly on the tank, and most importantly in here. I think I'm just going to take the tank at least mostly off, because otherwise getting this in there is not going to be good. Hopefully it just clicks in. Oh man, I got lucky. It just clicks in. Click. Obviously that's far easier to do earlier in the game here. So don't forget that. Oh, what the heck, let's go for the muffler. So this kit comes with this muffler, but I'm going to put this one on. This is the dual port muffler from HL Supply, so you can get this. Gives you a little better flow. Well, actually, this is the dual port as well, but there's no spark screens on here. So whoever buys this saw can take this too. Muffler bolts, heat shield. And you can look at your heat shield and see how well your port matched. Actually, this is pretty good. Some days you get lucky. And so I was going for the gasket there, and I noticed that there's still the heat wrap. This heat shielding tape, which really isn't anything more, in my opinion, than aluminum tape. So you could just use, if you didn't have it, if it wasn't included in your kit, just get some aluminum tape and kind of slap it on here. That's really all this is anyway. It's not like this is not precision fit tape. It's not fit amazingly well or stick amazingly well or anything here. A little bit of brake cleaner sometimes does it. There's your heat tape. So you undo your muffler bolts. Yeah, I'm not going to modify this muffler in any way, just going to leave it the dual port muffler, and it's going to be fine like that. Obviously you can do all kinds of crazy stuff to it if you want. You can remove the baffle in there and all kinds of nutso things, but for now I'm just going to leave it. Again, you can check on your port matching and make sure that it's matched pretty good. So depends on just how nuts you want to be. I think these are M5. Yep. So in other ones we've had issues with fitment. The 360 had an issue with fit because the gasket, it needed a spacer. One gasket was not good enough, needed a spacer. The 660 was just off by a little bit, I think. Let's see how this goes. Gasket, heat shield. Pretty sure that goes that way. Good. Pretty darn close, if you ask me. Makes my life easier. There's actually a heat gasket that goes here. Doesn't, no gasket on the 360 muffler. Don't know why, but no gasket there. One. Two. Now these bigger ones, will this actually go? Beauty. Boy, that's making my life a whole lot easier. So far, this is a much better kit. I know that some guys didn't think so, but so far I like it. So, 2 lower bolts, Loctite if you want. 1, 2. 2 upper bolts. 1. 2. Cool. This looks like an extra fuel line. That will go in the box of stuff. A couple of extra small muffler bolts. I'll keep those. Yeah, there's an extra rubber bumper, round thing, and it's in here already, so that's extra. I think this part is extra. Again, I'll include that with the saw. This rubber piece is for the oiler, also extra. I think this rubber piece is extra as well. This probably goes on the carburetor. This is some type of tip thing, so I'm going to hold off on that and see if that goes anywhere. I'd like to know where this piece goes. So I've kind of gotten carried away with building this whole thing. So the first thing I really should have done once this cylinder head was down was double check the squish. 22. Maybe 21? 21 thousandths. Double check on this side. I just want to make sure that it's not tighter, you know. Actually, it's closer to 25. 25 thousandths. Yeah, about 25 thousandths. So that's not too bad. Or the base gasket, even though it's 18 thousandths, does not squish down to 18 thousandths. So definitely something to consider. Too tight. So then the other thing that we can do, probably just before you get to this point, is do a pressure and vac test. Now I'm not going to do that here on this saw, but I think my 660 video has it. You can do it on that particular model the same way as you can do it on this one. It's just not that big of a deal to do. You have to plug all the ins and the outs. So you probably want to do that before you put the flywheel on and before you put the oiler on, just so you can see where you might have leaks. I have other videos on that. I'm not going to go through that here. There's plenty of other videos in my library here that will go through that if you want to see how to do that. This particular saw, it really isn't that different from, say, a Husky 372, and there are videos on that. All right, we got the momentum going. Let's go. Keep going. Final push. Here we go. Chain brake. Now, I actually ended up robbing this part from this kit to finish the 360. So this is an OEM part. It's only a couple of bucks, so not too bad. And goes on there like that. Good. Now I just need to find the E-clip that goes on there. E-clip goes right here. These things, of course, do love to go flying. Click. Perfect. Chain brake handle. Put it in here. Slides right on. So the metal piece goes in there like that, and then this other piece, and so you spring to fully seat this. That's got to be, the lever's got to be sprung just a little bit. E-clip here. Click. Rubber piece goes over the spring. Spring grabs here. And the real trick is getting that piece over there. I've made this particular tool. Don't tell me it won't go. Wow. This tool on this particular thing is a little too wide. I'll grind it down. Ideally, I want this to slip further through so I can push on it, pull that all the way there, and then push the spring down. Click. Perfect. Click it and forward. Good. Okay. That seems to click just fine. Attach the brake band. Might be easiest to install while it's clicked. There we go. All tucks in there just like that. Reset it. Very nice. I believe this goes there before the clutch. A little bit of lube before I put the clutch on. This does not need to be on super tight. Hand tight is okay. Bearing, again a little bit of lube. Clutch drum has a notch. That notch has got to grab the oiler. So you notice where the oiler's at. Goes. That's fine. Good. Washer there. You can tell that's not fully seated. Something's not quite seated. So interesting issue that I'm having right now. The clutch is on. I put it on pretty tight. Put the bearing, the washer. The washer just needs another half a millimeter to fully be down, which really means I think I actually need to grind the clutch here just to face it a little bit. Okay, so remember back when we centered the crank? On this particular model, I don't know if that's a good idea. Here's the reason. Because it certainly feels like this is too far in. By 20 thousandths, it's not much. I'm just having a hard time getting a clip on here, and if I can get the clip, then the problem is that this is too thick, so I got to grind the face of this down. Not much, just a bit. It's a pain. It'll be custom. Alright, so this is driving me crazy. So what I've ultimately decided to do here is I'm actually going to alter the crank. There's a slot here, goes all the way around, and I just want to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to keep everything installed while I do this, that way there's minimal stuff that goes into the works here. Also want to make sure nothing gets into the motor, so you're plug all that.